Okay, here we are with the OB6 and the OB-X8. Again, if you saw my first comparison video, you'll know the initial patch was in mono on the OB6, but in stereo on the OB-X8. And a lot of people complained. They got an awful lot of grief, actually. I think I mentioned, I don't know, Brexit, Donald Trump, the moon landings, or the geometry of the planet. Didn't think it was that controversial, because actually what happened was, because the OB6 was in mono, the sounds merged and they sounded a bit more chorusy than they did to me in stereo, where they're spread out across the stereo field, and what you don't get is the interaction between the oscillators, so it doesn't sound as chorusy, so it sounds a bit flatter. So what I heard was worse than what you heard on the video, but you can get them a bit closer. I was just demonstrating that there were differences. So here I really do spend a lot of time matching the patches, and it's really boring. So jump to about 5 minutes in, where I've matched them as good as I possibly can, and have a listen to me playing with the vintage modes and the stereo modes. But all in all, there is a difference, but it's not as big as you'd hear in mono and stereo. So if you can enjoy this, please do.
Holy, here we go again, Batman.
That's OB6 in mono again. OB-X8 in mono this time as well.
Oh no, Robin, he's at it again. I just don't seem to be able to stop him. He's doing it again. Look, look.
And they're pretty closely matched as they were before. It's the same patch. You can hear there's a little LFO in there. And actually this LFO is quite difficult to program in. If I just go to a single oscillator. On the OB-X8, there's no modulation. This is down at 0 on LFO2. There's no modulation on the main LFO. But you can hear it. If I take this off, so there's a little difference. We're getting modulation when we shouldn't be getting modulation on the OB-X8. Anyway, to program that into the OB6 isn't that easy, actually, because you've only got you have very limited control on the initial amount. That's off. And that's obviously the first setting. That's 1 out of 127 or 1 out of 128. But I thought it was important to keep that in there, because there's an LFO in there and you're playing different notes and maybe there's some interaction happening. So bring the second oscillator in, just listen to that on its own. Are they about the same? One a bit louder than the other, perhaps? Is the OB-X8 opening up a little bit more? I've just recorded this once, and the audio didn't record on my voice, and it was perfect then, so I don't know what's happened there. But that's about as close as we're going to get, isn't it? Let's turn the other voice on. Oh, the OB6 sounds duller again now. But it sounds fine on that note. So there are variations between the voices, so I'm gonna say that's as close as we're gonna get it. Okay, that's as close as we're going to get it.
Holy precision.
Right then, let's play those chords. I've matched the envelopes pretty much perfectly. I've used the OB8 envelope on the X8. I've changed it so it matches the one as best it can on the OB6. But that sounded a bit quicker on the OB-X8 than the OB6 then. But as I say, there's just these little variations. But what we're hearing when I play the chords is the OB-X8 sounds a bit softer. That second chord for some reason just doesn't have those higher frequencies. Softer, duller, you know, warmer, whatever. There is a slight difference there. So I'd notice that. I don't know why that is. Something to do with the interaction, obviously, between the voices, the envelopes, the triggering modes, etc. But then if we put the OB6 into stereo, which is what I was listening to, you lose all that fatness. And I had played around with this as well, and I'd put it on mono and I'd turned it up and down and tried all the things. But when you're trying to do it in stereo, it's half stereo. It loses the richness and the warmth. So I was listening to that versus this. The OB6 sounds much more static, doesn't it? OB-X8 again. Here, the OB6 has gone a bit quieter for some reason. Just turn it up. So ironically, everyone's screaming at me in the comments for having the OB6 in mono. It actually sounds better in mono than it does in stereo on this patch. Let's turn the pan up on the OB-X8, put it onto full. Put it on full on the OB6. The X8 just sounds fuller. Let's put it back to what it was anyway. Let's go to half on the OB8 and about half on the OB6. And the next thing people asked for was, how about using vintage mode? So I've put vintage mode on here, we can see. Let's turn it up. Let's turn it full.
Holy distortion.
And it sounds to me like it's doing what the vintage mode does on the OB-X8, in that it adds detune as well. Let's put it on the OB-X8 on full again. Much closer now, aren't they? Although in that test I didn't have the vintage mode on either of them. It's a bit too chorusy, but let's just turn it down a little bit. So now we're getting closer, aren't we? So that sounds a bit softer on the X8 than it does on the 6, but so the detune there is managing to sort of smudge everything better, isn't it? Let's turn it off again.
Holy perfect pitch!
Just listening to the release. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, about the same. So that's what I was listening to, something like that. So yeah, you can get it closer, but ironically, as I say, the pan spread on the OB6 sort of makes it sound a bit more static than the spread mode that you've got on the OB-X8. Let's just try putting this into ping pong mode. So the OB-X8 is now doing the same, I think, as the OB6. So again, much closer. Be great if the OB6 could have an update and do this this pan spread mode, because it's really nice. Okay, well, I hope that sort of elucidates what I was doing in the original thing and why I said actually the OB-X8 just sounds really nice doing that sort of stuff. You know, after trying to match the patches and it's been difficult and it's not exact and I'm trying to work out what's happening, then you say, actually, the overall character of the synth can be brought out by showing these two patches. I'm not trying to say the OB6 is bad, anything wrong with it. I love the thing. I might keep the OB6 and get rid of the OB-X8. I don't know yet. But I wasn't having a go at the OB6. Please don't think I was. But overall, character-wise, it might be a lot to do with that spread mode, but sounded a lot better to me than this. And yes, I can put the OB6 or the OB-X8, sorry, into ping pong mode and get it closer. And if that's the big difference, then please add it to the OB6 because it's a great little thing. Okay, I hope that was of interest to somebody somewhere. And if it was, please subscribe, ring the bell, join me on Patreon, check my affiliate links, all that sort of stuff to try to support the channel. And I will see you next time.
Our job is finished.